Raquel, hi, I'm so glad you're here today.
Hey Linda, well thank you for having me.
Raquel is actually my neighbor. She is also a friend of mine and also a woman in business that I really admire. So today I decided to take 10 minutes with Raquel and talk about her business and why she is so successful. So Raquel, are you ready to answer a couple questions?
I am.
Raquel works for EXP Realty. Did I say that right? In San
Yes.
Antonio and here in New Braunfels?
Actually, EXP has over 29,000 agents nationwide, but yes, I'm out of the New Braunfels office.
Awesome. Here's one of my first questions. You are with the Women's Council of Realtors, and you've been a realtor for what, 3 years?
5.
5, okay. Well, that's still not a long time to have a position like that. So how did you become involved with the council?
So actually, about 5 minutes after I got my real estate license, I met Melissa Elizondo, and one of the very first things that she said was, you have to join the Women's Council of Realtors. And so that next meeting, she invited me to be her guest, and that was, I don't know, literally about 5 minutes after I got my license. And so there it was. That was 5 years ago, and so I have been a member since then. And so I was just a member at the local network level, and then I started on the executive line of the local network level, and this year I am the District Vice President for District A1C on a state level.
That's amazing. So you are actually the head of all of Texas for the Women's Realty.
Now I have 3 networks under me. I have El Paso Network, Central Texas Network, and the San Antonio Network.
So all the networks that count.
Yeah, all the networks that count, yes.
So we've talked about this before. You were a social worker for Comal District, school district. How did that set you up or prepare you for your real estate career?
It gave me a very good idea on how to work with people. So I worked with a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. I worked primarily with high-risk kids, but also their families. And so it just really, the mental health background part of it just really helps me, because in real estate, there are a lot of different personalities, and so I try very hard to take my education and use that to help me discern what different personality I'm working with. Take that information, usually at one of the very first meetings that I have, garner, what your type is versus mine, and try to figure out how best we can work together. And successfully.
Get off subject. I'm just curious. We'll talk about it later. What type I am. I'm just so curious. Raquel, we've talked about it before. As I said, we're friends. So we talk with our husbands and everything about possibly traveling. So where is your favorite place you've ever traveled, and why?
So I'm a military brat. My dad was in the military for 20 years. So we've actually traveled a lot. And I think that a lot of that also has done well in my business, because I have a lot of different experiences, a lot of different global experiences, as well as statewide experiences. I love Europe. I love Europe. We actually spent 4 years in the Philippines when I was growing up, so that was actually our favorite assignment. But I could live in Europe. Anywhere in Europe, actually, it doesn't even matter where, but I love Barcelona and I love Italy.
I love Barcelona too, especially all the art and all the architecture there. So here's an important question for you. Seeing as you become so successful in 5 years, do you have any advice for somebody young going into the real estate field and to know if they're a right fit for it?
So actually you used the word young, and I actually started this career at 45, so I know that you really meant young at heart. I'm into real estate because having traveled so much and my parents moving so often, we were in a lot of different homes, and I remember meeting the realtor and getting in the car at that time, right? We got into cars and we did things, all sorts of different. And there were some that were super nice to my brother and I, and had little snack packs for us and coloring books. And then the ones that really thought that we were just the nuisances of the world, which my brother was. But so I've just always had a love for that. And my mother was Joanna Gaines before Joanna Gaines was even born. So we tended to buy older homes, and she would just kind of redo them. So when I was leaving the school district, I just thought that real estate would be something fun and also truthfully allow me some freedom, right? As entrepreneurs, part of why we go into business for ourselves is to create a business that we love and the way that we want to create it, right?
Yes.
So anyway, back to your question. I would, assuming that somebody has already taken the plunge and gotten their license, the very first thing that I would say is to get your Graduate Realtor Institute certification or designation, because what they teach you in real estate school is it's kind of like the tax test, is to pass a test. And that designation early on in my career really, I feel, has set me apart and has just really, really taught me a lot about the business itself and how to be very ethical in your business. So anyway, I think that's what I would do. Get your GRI.
Awesome. Here's my last question. How do you balance your work and your family and your friends?
So when you use the word successful, and I know that we all define success in different ways, where I am successful is in that I know what I am doing and I know how to do it. And so with that said, I have taken my business and created it in my way. I run a referral-based business. So when we are talking about that, we're talking about boundaries, right? And I've realized that, again, for what I want in my life, which is some of that freedom. I have grandchildren and I have children that do not live here in Texas. So to see them, I have to create my business around my life, if that makes any sense, and my husband, who is kind of like a child. So my job is to help manage my clients' expectations, right? With what they're going to, how we're going to navigate a transaction. I don't want them at the end of the transaction upset with me or feeling like they didn't like the house that they bought or that it was just an awful experience. So by setting those expectations up, I let them know on a list side, hey, listen, we always ask for feedback from the other agent, but just to let you know that 90% of the time we're not going to get it. That 10% that we do, woohoo, even that 11%, yay, us. So just really help manage expectations. And I do that from the very beginning with our buyer's consultation or our listing presentation. And one of the very first things that I do is I have set up, I don't work on Sundays. That is my day. That is my day with my husband. We go to church on Sundays. We like to take a lazy lunch on Sundays after church. We just do those things. So I don't work on Sundays. That doesn't mean I'm not going to answer a phone call or a text. It just means that I'm not going to spend all day showing property. When I manage those expectations with my clients ahead of time, they know that. What it also does is that it helps eliminate those people that think that, one, I am just a door opener, that my job is to go open a door for you, multiple doors for you. And it's going to eliminate those people that think that they can call me when they're out in San Antonio sitting in front of a house. Oh, I'm in front of 1234 Main Street. Come, get me. Well, I'm not going to drop that. So not that that's not important, and not that again, run your own business. But the expectations that I set are, one, there is really no real estate emergency. Unless your house is burning down, there is no real estate emergency that can't be handled the next day. It doesn't have to be at 11 o'clock at night. So there's a long answer. Help manage realistic expectations for my clients based around how I want to run my business. And like I said, my business is primarily referral based, and it's a very relationship based business. And I learned that early on also from Melissa, that I don't, transactional based business would be one that would be, I'm gonna sell your house and move on to the next, sell that, and not really spend the time to develop a relationship. It is easier for me to gain business again, from somebody who likes me, trusts me, and knows me, and who's going to refer me, than it is to start from scratch, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
So, well then, there you go. There was a long answer to everything.
You know what? I'm so glad I interviewed you first, because I'm going to interview a few women in New Braunfels, but I knew you'd be easy because you are so wonderful to talk to, so easy. And you already know when I'm prepared to find my forever home, who my realtor will be. Thank you.
Well, you can't leave right now because, you know, we share the fence. And
That's true. We really do.
We are literally neighbors.
We are literally share a back fence. And the funny story there is we did not talk for a year. My husband would talk through the fence. They did not know what they looked like until we went to another party down the street.
Yes.
And they heard my husband's Canadian accent and said, "Are you Stefan?"
Yeah. We were sitting there. It was freezing cold. We were around a fire, and it was like Wilson. Like, what is that show?
It was Home Improvement.
Home Improvement. So I would tell David, I was like, you know what? If I saw him on the street, I would only know him with like squares in between his face. And so one day we're down the street at a block party, and David and I are talking around the fire with another couple, and I hear this voice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's our neighbor. So I pop up and I'm like, do you live behind? You know, yeah. So literally it was that way, and I had not met Linda.
The whole COVID-19 thing, we took a couple plaques off, and we would like have drinks through the fence and toast each other and talk to each other. So it's really been a fun experience. I'm Linda Chevrier. I'm with 5 Rings Financial. I'm here with Raquel Long, the realtor of my choice.
Thank you. I can be your choice too.
And I would recommend Raquel to anybody. She will give you an experience in real estate that you will not forget.
Well, thank you, Linda. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate the nice words. Thank you very much.